Okay, today I'm going to talk about instant replay in relationships. Maybe an odd foreign topic at first, but when you think about it, it could potentially be a powerful tool. But I kind of want to explore how this might work. But the basic idea is you record your arguments and you look at them either as a couple later on and kind of break it down, or you use a third party, so like a counselor watches the argument and helps you kind of break it down and process it a little bit. So why an instant replay? How could this possibly be productive, therapeutic? Well, when you're in the heat of a moment, you're basically only focusing on mostly communicating what you feel, not necessarily paying attention to what the other person is feeling, and probably not even processing what your own feeling is. You may not be clear on how you're feeling about it in the moment. Totally. That it may not be totally processed. So I'm going to talk about how that perspective can help. Common relationship arguments, sex, money, chores, that kind of stuff. But there's a tendency for some relationships to go over and over again the same kind of stuff. Like you're going to go over the same territory and come to the same conclusions and kind of never go forward. You're going to probably argue about the same topics and constantly kind of readjust, but I know some couples that can walk in the same circles and just never kind of expand. Basically, what I want to do is to give the couple a clear perspective of themselves and the other person, and also to give the counselor or therapist a more clear window into actually what's going wrong in the relationship. A window that's not skewed by interpretation and skewed by time from listening to both sides of the conflict. Absolutely listen to whatever partner says about the other, but the problems, but how they interpret the situation. But look for yourself and get a third-party perspective on what's actually happening. So I'm going to try to use an example. There's not really too many good examples from everyday life that you can really find a good argument. So I'm going to use a movie argument, but one that I think rings true, that's a true-to-life argument, has the same kind of complexities in it. So this one's from Blue Valentine.
So many things. You have such capacity. For what? You can sing, you can draw.
Okay. So how I would do this is I'd let the couple watch, and as a therapist, I'd watch it all the way through, however long the argument is, and then just break it down piece by piece. So in this particular argument, on a factual level, she's challenging him to achieve more or make more money, and he's kind of defending his lifestyle, or maybe she wants him to get validation from the world. That's on the factual level, though. She's saying, why don't you go do something? and he's kind of probing more deeply. He's like, I'm happy with myself. I'm happy with being a father, your husband. I'm happy with the simple job I have. And so that's the factual level. That's what's going on. But one of the first questions I would ask is, how did the other person feel? And how did you feel? Those are the two most probably important questions that should be reflected on. And I would probably let the couple, like maybe as a homework assignment, or maybe there, just kind of write out, how they were feeling in that situation, and how the other was feeling. And and that adds a level of rationality to whatever was happening. To be able to communicate that clearly. This is what I thought I was feeling. This is how I think you were feeling. And just for couples to explain that, I think that's going to resolve a lot of issues just by getting clear on what each other feels, because I think that's probably the major hurdle in a face-to-face communication. Just getting clear on where your other partner is at, and also where yourself is at, because in the moment you may not be clear on whatever emotion's coming up, and so when you're looking at the tape, you can see your own expression from the outside, and get a clear perspective of what's going on. Are you being defensive? What exactly is happening within yourself? In that specific argument, a therapist can come in and give some interpretation too. I wouldn't choose any sides, but I would just kind of give some analysis of, what is helpful and what is not helpful. Whatever person is bringing to the table, and your knowledge of this person and their history and their patterns of behavior is going to help inform how what the intentions are behind this kind of conflict, right? So, I would not pick a side, pick a bad guy or a good guy. That's the easy way out. But what I would say is just kind of just see what is helpful and not helpful. So on one level, if you know her history, she wanted to be a doctor, and she kind of feels disappointment that, she's a nurse, she became a nurse, and it seems like she feels a little disappointment for not going all the way and meeting her dreams, and her mother's kind of expectations of her too. She's kind of this first generation to break out of that stereotypical female, but she didn't quite achieve her expectations. Now, what happened was, I think there's a little depression going on with her, a little disappointment, and she's kind of projecting that onto him. And that's a major thing that, any therapist should probably kind of explore. That's a major dynamic, and I think a lot of relationships is accusing the other person, the other partner, of what you feel is lacking in yourself. So, if you feel like you need to be in better shape, you might accuse your partner of being out of shape. If you feel guilty or disappointed in your own life, you might accuse your partner of being a failure or loser. And so this is kind of something that the mind can do as kind of a protective mechanism. It seems easier to accuse somebody else of what you're ashamed of than to process it yourself. And so that's kind of her issue. And that's what a therapist can kind of give some insight into and kind of help her feel around and explore. On another level, and so she's either going to get that analysis for herself, or a therapist can help her along and get kind of clear on how she's feeling. On another level, and behavior has lots of causes, right? So why else is she provoking it? Like, you see throughout this this kind of argument. There's a provocation there, and so why is she challenging? Why is she kind of condescending to him? What's really going on? And I think I mean there's a lot of explanations for behavior. She's I think on some level she wants to feel his ability to defend himself. I think he's kind of a doormat. He lets the world, he lets her kind of walk all over him, and she's trying to push him to get some pushback. And so to kind of, she's probably just, she may not even realize why she's doing it. She wants to try to get him to be, like, develop that healthy self-protection mechanism. Okay? On another level, I think there is some kind of contempt. I think she's feeling contempt for him just because he doesn't really pull his weight around the house. He doesn't monitor the day-to-day functionality of the family. He's caring, he's loving, and all those things, but he doesn't handle the details that make life work or might make life function. He's kind of inconsiderate of the fact that she's on call. He didn't take that into consideration when he was planning his adventures. So and it helps to watch the movie to understand some context. So that's Blue Valentine again. So the other question is, once you're kind of clear on what you and your partner feel, and you've talked about that, the question is growth at that point. I think that'll resolve a lot of situations, but how do you grow from that point? How do you resolve your own negativity, or how are you detracting from the chemistry of the situation? So for Michelle, I think it's just processing her own disappointment. She just needs to come to terms with either accepting her level of education and earning as a nurse, just accepting that situation, she should accept it either way, but either accepting it and not moving forward in her education and being okay with where she's at, or setting a goal and moving forward, but she should take ownership of her own disappointment instead of accusing Ryan Gosling's character of her own disappointment. So that's something that she can take account of herself for. For Gosling, having an external challenge may be good to help him focus, to kind of develop his stability, develop his sense of self-worth, improve his confidence, improve his efficiency, his effectiveness. These are kind of things that add to the stability of the relationship that I think she was feeling frustrated about. So having that focus and that goal can help give him that element that would help her reduce her suffering and her resentment. But just simply getting clear on where the pain of yourself and the other person. So I think he's feeling confusion, insecurity, frustration. She was frustrated. He was frustrated with the lack of intimacy. She was frustrated with the lack of effectiveness and stability of the relationship. He was kind of insecure. He was caring, but he's kind of a mama's boy. She wanted him to be more self-assured and be less dependent on her. So she was kind of breaking the cord with that kind of contempt. She was giving that kind of flack. So, but that's just one argument. That's just one situation you break down. That's how I would see it as a counselor. But it really, really helps to have a tape you can return to for a therapist to see exactly what's happening, for the couple to see the expressions on their own face and their partner's face. But I think it adds a level of clarity, and it stops you from repeating the same past mistakes. In the same way, a player who watches tape doesn't repeat his own mistakes. But that's the play-by-play relationship guide. Thanks for listening.